Hey everyone! I hope you are doing well today. Thank you for listening and supporting your own learning and development throughout this podcast. Okay, so I also decided to record myself on video, so I am here on a video for those of you that are watching on YouTube. Someone asked me, are you going to record yourself on video for your podcast for season 2? And I was like, I don't know. So here we are. I'm like, I figured I'd probably just get back to, the YouTube stuff anyway. So here we are today. And so I'm going to drop my YouTube link down in the bio of this podcast episode. If you want to just check that out, feel free to follow me there as well. If you want to see this bright lime green blazer that I have on and this cute Savage bra that I have underneath it, by Rihanna, of course, and some cute jeans. So here we go. Today's episode, by the way, is probably one of the most realist discussions that I've had. Very relatable for me personally as a Black model, and I'm sure as other Black models as well who may have experienced these things. I feel like the industry has progressed in terms of diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, and creating an inclusive space for all types of models. There's still so much work to be done though. There really is. Just behind the scenes, especially again for the Black community, I'm gonna just share a few things about what Black models still struggle with today in the modeling industry. And then also, I'm going to share a few tips and practical things that our advocates and allies can do if you want to just help your colleagues, help create a safer and more comfortable environment for our Black fellow models as well. I'm super huge on helping one another. I'm pretty sure you've heard, my episode about the power of community and just being there for one another. And so this topic is so dear to my heart, and I'm excited to just share a little bit more perspective on what struggles Black people are still facing in the modeling industry. I am actually gonna really emphasize the hair and makeup departments because it's still such a huge issue for models. I mean, myself included, we deal with a lot of embarrassing moments when it comes to how our hair and our face looks, and the lack of color matching and the lack of education on how certain hair artists can deal with our hair textures. I mean, if you go on TikTok, there are still so many TikTok videos about people just feeling all embarrassed with how their hair has turned out, and they're looking at their white colleagues and models and they're like, hey, why can't my hair look like that? Right? Period. So honestly too, I think that sadly our darker skin models still experience a lot of struggles with color matching than the lighter skin brown models do, but we do struggle with that as well. Thankfully, we do have a lot of brands in the beauty industry in general. I mean, when I'm thinking about Fenty Beauty, for example, and other different makeup brands, they are creating a wider variety of colors, but for some reason, it's like when those makeup artists are actually behind the scenes doing our models' makeup, like, where are the colors? where are the colors? So color matching is huge. I just remember so many times sitting in a makeup artist's chair that has me looking either too dark or too yellow. And this is why, regardless of the shoot or the show that I'm walking in, I always bring my makeup kit. That's like literally a must for me, because you just never know what kind of makeup artist you're going to get. And I have tons of anxiety about this a lot. I'm like always crossing my fingers. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, please let me not have to deal with this extra barrier, this extra just worry of not having my makeup done properly. And we shouldn't have to worry about those things. But if we go all the way back to history, in the 1950s, Helen Williams was considered too dark to work as a model in America, and she had to relocate to Paris in order to work and be accepted as a model. Well, Miss Williams eventually led her way back or made her way back to America and just really fought to be seen and heard as a Black model. And, I was reading up on a time where she was waiting on auditions for an agent, and the agent told her, like, oh, we already have a Black model like you. And so she was considered, quote unquote, too dark. And she's actually like my skin tone, but just maybe a couple tones down, which is just ridiculous. We should not have to classify as someone as being too dark or too light skin or all of that. But she eventually did, again, make her way back to America, and she started working for major campaigns and really paving the way for other Black models. And that forced different brands and makeup artists to start to create those products for brown skin tones. So that's so amazing when we have those Black advocates and those Black leaders that make what we're doing now possible. And I don't take that for granted personally, because without them fighting for us back in the day, we would not be here today, period. So it's still a struggle of 2023 though. It really is. Again, I personally have a lot of anxiety as a model sitting in a person's chair who is not Black or have brown skin like me. I mean, there are times when creative directors or those who are managing the makeup or the show who would actually get mad that you'd fix your makeup. I remember I was at a show once, and the owner of the magazine that I was walking for said that she verbally said this out loud. She said, if I catch any model talking bad about their makeup look or fixing their makeup, they will not be able to walk in the show. Now, thankfully, I didn't have issues with my makeup for that show that day, but can you imagine if I did? Imagine that I felt so ugly with the makeup look that I had that I'm like borderline. I feel like I'm not pretty. I feel like I feel embarrassed to walk. And then being threatened not to be able to work the show. We need to create these spaces where we not only hire or market to makeup artists that are people of color or that have that training and technique to work with models of color and are able to color match, but to ensure that models can feel empowered to say that, hey, I don't feel comfortable walking out there on the runway because I just don't feel beautiful. And after saying that, not feeling like as a model, I'm going to be shamed or I'm going to lose my job or my place as a model because I'm expressing my voice, my authentic voice. Okay, and this stuff really does happen, guys. Again, go on TikTok, go on Instagram Reels, like talk to your model of color. These things are so real and true. Now, the second thing I want to address is hair. Hair is equally a challenge for Black models, especially if you have thicker hair, if you have curly hair like me, if you have kinky hair, etc. I think that it's a shame that we have to basically do our hair, prep our hair before a show or before a photo shoot, before we get on set for a job, because like 85% of the time, I promise, we're sitting in a chair with a person who is maybe white or just don't have experience with our texture. Every time I didn't prep or curl my hair prior to a show or photo shoot, I've always regretted it. And this is, again, another place where I have tons of anxiety, unfortunately. Our hairstylists just don't have the correct tools. They don't have the correct combs. They don't have the education to handle our hair. And it's not our job to provide that education for them, right? It's not in our paychecks to do our own hair and do our own makeup to fix what was broken. Is that a right term? No. To fix our hair when it was messed up, or maybe it was fine before we even sat in the chair. You have those stories where Black women come with their hair perfectly curled and pretty, and then all of a sudden the hairstyles put their hands in their hair and just messes up the beautiful girls. And you see the before and after and you're like, oh my gosh, they didn't even need to touch it. Right? So again, it's a shame that we have to do our hair, but at the end of the day, we don't have any choice. I mean, you as a model, you have to decide, do I want to look pretty or do I want to take the risk and maybe not look so pretty or our best? Again, this happened to me a few times with the hair situation. Just recently, I had a show a few months ago. After I got my makeup done, I was waiting to get my hair done. There's this one hairstylist that actually identifies as black, excuse me, as black. And each time that she got done with the silky head, she would look for another person to do her hair, and she would always like look over or avoid me. And you can kind of tell the vibe of somebody. And that was the vibe that I was 100% getting from her. And so I finally sat in the chair of another hairstylist that actually identified as black as well. And I was so confident. I was so relieved. I even told her out loud, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy that I'm like sitting in your chair because you look like me. I mean, I trust that you know what you're doing. Well, I was wrong, you guys. I was so wrong. My hair was already kind of natural, like it was already kind of in this cute fro, but you can tell that I just needed some touch-ups on my curls. And so she sprayed it with water, then she like added some mousse in it, and me knowing my hair, mousse really does make it a little dry depending on how you're styling and everything. And so it ended up being this weird like fro thing. I'm like, I don't know about this. So she didn't even have the tools to curl my hair or to touch it up, considering that she was black. So, you know, sometimes we can't always like blame people who are not black for not having the experience. There are people who even look like us that don't have that experience, depending on where you grew up, what your background was, how much you've educated yourself as a hairstylist. So after my hair dried, I went back into the room. Maybe this was a couple hours after and a few hours before the show. But I went back into the room. I plugged in the wand that I had because I always carry it for these instances where hairstylists may not have the tools to do my hair. So I have that as a backup all the time. And I touch my hair up. And so while I was touching my hair up, both her and another hairstylist was sitting on a chair, like watching me. And they were like, wow, I just love the way that you're curling your hair. It looks so nice. I'm dead. Yeah, I'm so dead. Another story I have is when I was sitting in a hairstylist chair before a photo shoot, and she literally told me out loud, she said, I just can't do your hair. And she just laughed. So embarrassing, right? So many stories like this. I'm not the only one. I dropped a YouTube video in the bio of this episode. The YouTube video that I dropped is an interview of 4 dark-skinned models that are women, and they talk about their struggles in the industry. One simple and powerful thing a model said in this video was that when there's no one that can do her hair and makeup on set for a show or for a photo shoot, she feels like she's not cared for. To me, that really makes my heart hurt because I feel like we've made some strides in the industry, right? In terms of diversity, you know, in terms of having different ethnicities walk. I mean, we're seeing women who are pregnant on the runway. We're seeing more curvy women. We're seeing people who are disabled and in wheelchairs that are rocking the runway. It's almost that since 2020, when the DEI initiatives were booming for a lot of corporations or organizations and within the fashion industry, the new normal is now like you have to have a prerequisite of different visible diversities. But behind the scenes, I just wish that there was more education about black hair and curly textures and proper techniques and proper tools for our black models and people of color who have different textures. I mean, that should become the new normal, a new prerequisite for years, right? It should be something that is instilled within the industry. So if you're listening to this as a director or a person who organizes different shows and photo shoots, the best gift you can give a person of color is a skilled makeup artist and a hairstylist that is trained to make black skin and hair look amazing, just like everybody else. We need proper products, again, that are inclusive to our skin and our hair texture. The more that we can do this, the more that models are just gonna feel cared for. They're gonna feel confident. They're gonna feel so confident rocking down the runway that they're gonna make your clothes shine even brighter. On a photo shoot, they're gonna make your products even more sellable because they feel their best. Okay, they feel confident. And that's what this industry is all about. It's not about looking cute all the time, but we want to empower our models to feel like that their skin matters in the game, that they're not just a token, right, for your product or for your fashion show. So here is just a little quick list of practical suggestions and things that you can do to create a more inclusive environment for people of color with different textures and skin tones that you can really implement in your shows and photo shoots. Now, if you're organizing some sort of fashion show, or I would even say like photo shoots as well, of course, all of it, whatever it is, if you're having any kind of models involved, showroom modeling, etc., any of that, before you hire on like a team or an individual, if you have a person of color, if you know that you're hiring a diverse team of models working for you, just take that extra step of asking the makeup artist or hairstylist what their portfolio looks like. Ask what their experience is working with different kinky hair textures or darker skin tones. Ask them to send photos of the current hair products and makeup products. This is how you're going to truly know if they are prepared to professionally do your model's hair and makeup, right? You can even take an even better approach. Look at this, y'all. An even better approach of asking them to submit a video. Treat it as like a casting or an audition. Ask them to submit a video of them applying makeup to a darker skin tone and instructing them to do maybe a specific hairstyle as if they were kind of doing a fashion show or a professional photo shoot, just to see how well they do. Do you know if we take this approach, how much our makeup artists and hairstylists are really going to truly step up? Because this is their line of work. If they're entrepreneurship, if they do this stuff full time, this is going to force them to be on top of things and get to it and get educated, right? Now, if you are listening to this as a current or potential makeup artist or hairstylist, my suggestion would to be take a course, educate yourself, practice. Hey, there's nothing wrong with being vulnerable and transparent and saying like, hey, I need a few models to practice applying makeup. Here are the different skin tones that I'm looking for. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some models in your area that also want to network with you. You know, you're building up your network of models for future projects and everything that would be happy for you to practice. And how awesome is that to know that? I know me as a Black person, I love to see people trying, because that's what it's all about. You have to try and you can't be afraid to make mistakes, okay? So again, when you're educating yourself as a hairstylist and makeup artist, you are doing your career such a huge favor, because this is gonna increase your chances of getting booked. You can say like, hey, I have this experience. I know exactly what to do. And guess what? Other makeup artists are gonna want to know how exactly you are applying makeup to different tones and just perfecting your craft. And boom, you've got a whole little business going on for you. Look at that. And most importantly, models of color, they're gonna trust you. You're gonna build up a name for yourself as well. And then lastly, if you are a model listening to this, bring your own makeup kit, period. You don't want to make the mistake of forgetting that. Just bring it with you. It's going to save you so much anxiety, and you're going to feel secure in knowing that you have that backup plan too. So here are a few things just that I carry in my basic makeup kit. I have a foundation with a sponge, concealer, an eyebrow pencil, powder, blush, chapstick. I mean, you can even throw in contour and eyeshadow, just a small little makeup kit. I think the most important thing is that color matching. So foundation and concealer, if you don't have everything else, as long as you have those two things, that is going to be very, very helpful for you in the future. Again, I'd rather you bring these things than, you being stuck on the day of your photo shoot and you're like, oh crap, like what do I do? And depending on how friendly the other models are, they may share. Some people don't, but I would say even when you're using you have your own makeup kit, that is gonna help other models. You are gonna be like the plug. People are gonna be like, ooh, I know that she's gonna have this, right? And so other models are gonna love you for that as well, for hooking them up. Also, you need to practice applying it to your own face. Sometimes we don't know how to do our makeup, and that's all right. But if you can take that extra step of educating yourself as a model, knowing and learning how to apply it, that's gonna be super helpful. Use YouTube. I think the biggest tip that I actually gained from YouTube when I first started practicing my own makeup, and I started with the eyebrows, was that you just really have to learn your face. You can try a lot of techniques, but at the end of the day, each makeup artist, each YouTube tutorial is gonna say like, just practice your own eyebrow look, your shape, because sometimes when we practice our makeup and stuff, we're trying to replicate another person's face, and it's not gonna really work out the way that it's gonna work out because their face is not our face. So one little tip. And lastly, I would say for my agencies and casting teams, you could also consider hiring a set of standard makeup artists and hairstylists for your actual team, where you can lead your own education courses using the correct resources and people, that will help your models who are actually signed to your agency. So these are just a couple of perspectives and things that you can truly gain from as you're navigating the industry. Like I said, there's so much work to be done when it comes to creating that comfortable space for our Black models. And although we still struggle and it sucks, we can do this, y'all. We can continue to spread the word about this, continue to grow. I'm sure that there's other challenges that are within the industry, but these are the two most common that I've seen and that I've researched and that I have experienced when it comes to being a model in the industry, a Black model specifically in the industry. That is all that I have for you today. I wanted to just take a moment to, again, honor Black History Month. I love Black History Month. I'm starting to grow in love with it even more as I'm getting older, because I'm realizing that my Black is beautiful. I think Black people are lit, and we've paved so many paths for a lot of Black individuals in America. A lot of structures that we see and that we use, different inventions, are because of our Black leaders. And I appreciate our allies and our advocates that support our Black businesses and our Black people. And I just encourage that we just keep this momentum going and sharing Blackness and Black tips and things that we can do to just help to support and love one another deeper as well. Well, at the end of each episode, we recite affirmations together. Affirmations are designed to help you become aware of your personal strengths and values. When you are able to know your strengths, it can be a game changer for improving your self-awareness and building that confidence. Repeat after me. My skin is beautiful. I love me just the way I am. My hair is gorgeous. I accept me for who I am today. Yes, I feel your words. Oh, well, we just got done with episode 2, and I feel like I have so much to talk about, so much that have been just built up between the end of episode or season 1 to now. So I have so much built up. I'm so excited to again continue sharing a lot of fun stuff with you, being real, using this space together to just be honest and grow. So again, thank you for listening. I'm extremely grateful for all of you, again, having an open mind, open ears, open heart to continue learning and growing, to support you. This space is for you, okay? Don't you forget that. I'm talking with you, but this space is ultimately to help you grow and design the best version of yourself. Outside of the podcast, I'm on several different social media platforms. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. On Instagram and TikTok, you can follow me as @RissaSnuggs, RISASNUGGS, so that you can just stay posted on fun little reels and videos and annoying videos of me talking. But I want to just continue growing and learning with you. So if you have any topics that you want me to talk about, or if you have any suggestions, or maybe I hit the mark or missed the mark for you, know that I'm always willing to learn and grow alongside of you. And so for that, I would say, just drop a review. Let me know how this episode really resonated with you. Was I on point? Was I a little off again? So thank you again for this space. I am excited to continue the momentum of this podcast. I'm sending love and peace your day today. I'm very grateful for you. Love you all. XOXO, and see you next time. Bye.